Hey, welcome everybody. This is Mr. On Demand, man with the master plan. And I'm going to talk about Jellyfin today. And I specifically want to talk about how to do a remote login connection so that you know how to set that up for yourself. It's much easier than a lot of people would have you believe. And much easier actually than Plex, to be honest about it. And Plex, let's face it, they make you pay money now to do a remote connection for your friends and family. So Jellyfin is a great free option for all of you. Now, if you want to know how to do the initial installation of Jellyfin, well, then I'll have a video right up here for you to watch. You're going to want to go watch that first before this video, and then you can come back to this video to learn how to set up the remote connection. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, the first thing you need to give to your friends and family that are going to connect into your Jellyfin server is you're going to need your IP address. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go into Google and type in what's my IP, and that's going to take you to the website, and you're going to be able to get your IP address in order to go ahead and give that IP address to your friends and family. It's kind of like your phone number on the internet. It's going to tell Jellyfin where your server is on the internet in order for your friends and family to connect up. They'll have to put this number into the app in order to connect to your server, and I will show you that later. Okay, so now let's go ahead and open up the Jellyfin server, and in the bottom right we're going to go ahead and open the Jellyfin server up here. Now my server is running on Windows, so this tutorial is based around Windows, and what we're going to do here is go to the top right, the little icon that looks like a person, and what you're going to do there is go down to Dashboard. From Dashboard we're going to go down to Networking, and we're going to scroll down to Remote Access Settings. You're going to check mark Allow Remote Connections to this server, and then you're going to go ahead and enable Automatic Port Mapping. This is, in a lot of cases, all you will have to do, because this will automatically use UPnP to automatically map the port to your internet IP address so that your port is going to the server and it actually gets a connection from the internet. If that doesn't work, you will have to manually input this port number so that people can access your server through using a port forwarding in the router. And I am going to show you how to do that in this video as well. At least I'm going to show you an example of it. Everybody's router is a little different, and I encourage you to actually look up your specific model router and how to do port forwarding on that router. It's usually a fairly simple process to go ahead and just add a port number to an IP address and you're ready to go. So that shouldn't be too difficult to get done. But let's go ahead and move forward, because in a lot of cases this is all anybody's going to have to do. So this is what you want to try first. Do this, and then you're going to save it, and you might have to restart your server for the changes to take effect. And once you've done that, you're ready to go, except for the fact that you need to start adding your users. So however many people you have connecting to your Jellyfin server, you're going to start adding those users here. So what you do is you hit the little plus sign and you say Uncle Joe or Aunt Jill or whatever whoever it might be that you're adding to your Jellyfin. You're going to add that name here, and you're going to grant them access to whatever libraries that you want to have them have access to. If you have libraries that you don't want them to have access to, let's just say that maybe they are children and you only want them to have access to a library you set up that only has children content, you may want to just give them that content, and that way you can customize what content somebody gets. You can have custom libraries in here and only checkmark the libraries for that person. Say you have your relative and they just want movies, and so you're just going to give them the movies a section, and you're not going to give them the rest of your content because maybe it's too confusing for them to look at all of that. They just want to open it up, see what new movies you have, and select a movie to watch it. That's fine and good. Everybody's different. Everybody watches different things. I'm just explaining this to you so you know what this is, so you know how to configure this for each individual user, because every user can be different in the way you configure their access. So I'm just going to give access to all the libraries and hit save. And oh, let's create another. I had to change the name there, so there's another user. And I'm just going to save that login. Once you've done that, now you've got some other options here, including allowing live TV access. If you have a tuner on your Jellyfin, that's only for certain people who would have live tuners on their Jellyfin. Allowing media playback, allow audio playback, etc., etc. So media playback here. You know, I usually just leave all of this default. I don't usually change much in the way of any of that. Allow media deletion from, you usually don't want that. You usually don't want anybody with remote access to be able to delete any of your content for obvious reasons. Remote control, allow remote control of shared devices, allow remote control of other users. So this is another option that would be, you know, optional if you want a device to have remote control over devices. Obviously allow media downloads. If you want somebody to be able to download the media you have, you can obviously give them that ability. If you don't want them to be able to download content off your server, you can uncheck mark that. That is personal, depending on the person that you're giving access to. Disable this user. If you want to disable the user, hide the user from login screens, etc., etc. So then you have other options here. Enable access to all libraries. Obviously, this is one we went over just a second ago. You can change that. Enable access from all devices. So you can actually change what devices that an individual person has access to, which means if you want to only give them access to watch your content through a web browser, you can do that. If you only want them to have access to their streaming box and that's all, you can, or you can just have them have access to all devices. That's, you know, another option. Usually this is going to be all devices. I mean, most of the time, because you don't know what your friend or family member device they may or may not have that they're going to use to watch the content, whether it's a Roku or whether it's, you know, an Android box, or whether they're just watching on their laptop or their phone. Parental controls. Obviously, this is something that you would set up for children specifically. So this dependent on the person that is going to be using it through that user account. And then password, obviously you can change the password. So fairly simple. Most of these options, if they're an adult, are not going to have to be changed. Usually the default settings are going to be fine for most people, but I just figured I'd go through that with you. Mostly all you have to do is just go to users, hit the plus sign, add a username and a password, grant access to all libraries, and save, and forget about the rest. That's usually pretty much all you have to do. So this is a brief tutorial on how to go ahead and set up port forwarding on a router. We're going to use a generic TP-Link router for this video. And let's go ahead and move on to opening up the web browser. And we're going to type in the IP address of the router. If you don't know your IP address of your router, you should go ahead and look at the router and look at the documentation that came with the router from the factory. If somebody else set it up for you, you may want to contact those people and ask them if they set up the router with a different IP address than what came from the factory, so that you'll be able to gain access to your router and to the router settings. For this, ours is 198.168.0.1 on here. Change this to a 1, and we're going to go to admin. And we're going to log in here. Okay, and now we've logged into the router. This is just a demonstration router I've got. This is not my personal router I'm using on my network right now, nor would I use that router to show you a tutorial on anything like this. But basically what we're going to do is go to advanced, and we're going to look up NAT forwarding. So you're going to look up your firewall, NAT forwarding, and you're going to try to look around your router settings for virtual servers or port forwarding. And if we go to virtual servers, we're going to see that we have the virtual servers here. Now you're going to see UPnP. Now this is very, important for you to know. UPnP is what we checkmark to try to set it up automatically. So a lot of routers should already have UPnP, and you shouldn't even need to do this. However, if you do need to do it, you're going to need to know the IP address of your server as well. Now I already know the IP address on my network on my server, but if you don't know it, you should go ahead and go to your server, whatever it is, if you've got a laptop or a mini PC, and you should go over to that server and look at the status of the network adapter so you can find out what the IP address is of that server. This is not a tutorial on how to set up a server at all. I'm just giving you a quick tutorial on how to get the remote desktop connection unlocked for Jellyfin. That's what I'm trying to do, so that friends and family can log into your Jellyfin server and access your movies and TV shows and music. So right here we have MB already set up, and the port is the same port as Jellyfin. So in theory, this name MB doesn't matter. This port has already been opened up, but I'm not running an MB server anymore. So it would just automatically work because the port forwarding is already set up. But what we're gonna do here is we're gonna add a port, and instead of 8096, we're gonna call this Jellyfin, and we're gonna say we're gonna call it 8095, and internal IP address is the same. And again, this is the IP address of your server. So whatever your Jellyfin server is, whatever address it's got, goes in the internal IP. And then the internal port number also would be the same. Usually those two are going to be the same for a server like this. Protocol, TCP, enable this entry, and we're going to hit OK. So now we've got a Jellyfin 1 for 8095, and all we would if you do have an MB server running 8096, then all you would do is go back to the networking area of your Jellyfin server and change the port to 8095, or change it to something else, whatever works for you. Plex is using 32400, you may want to change this to something else. And actually we can edit this and change this to all just in case, so that it's both TCP and UDP for the port types. But at the end of the day, this is it. This is how you set up a virtual server port forward for going to your Jellyfin server so that it can have remote connection. At the end of the day, though, it should set up UPnP automatically. So no, there's no UPnP set up on here. UPnP is enabled, but this is not the router that's running my network. This is a demonstration router. This is a router used for my YouTube videos to show you how to do stuff like this. Basically, that's all it is. I want to thank you all for watching this video, and if it was informative to you, please let me know down below, and also let me know if you have any troubles, because I'll be happy to help you. I do have a Telegram group to also give help to people, and you can join as well. The link will be in the description of the video here also. You guys all have a wonderful day. Hit a thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more great content like this one. And I'll be back again shortly with another great video for you all. You all have a great day. This was Mr. On Demand, man with the master plan. And stick with me and get it for free. See you next time.